Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, discussing all things audiobooks with the authors that write the stories and the narrators that perform them, including a special series with narrator Shane East. The Audiobook Lovin Podcast is brought to you by Viviana, Enchantress of Books.
Hey everyone, so we're going to do things a tad bit different with this episode. It is the first time that we have multiple guests, and it's also Kayley Loring, Mackenzie Cartwright, and Crais. So Mackenzie and Kayley are infamously known for their sense of humor. They're hilarious. You guys have heard the previous episodes and interviews that I've done with them, and I'm sure with other places. Plus, you know, how they narrate, and Kayley, how she writes her books. Connor is another one that, while it may come across shy, he's actually hilarious and hysterical. So add those three together, and yeah, I was literally busting out laughing and having to move away from the mic many times because I was like, I'm not going to be loud. But anyways, so this episode is going to be a little bit different in that I'm going to not do as much editing so you guys can get the actual feel of almost like really just hanging out with us. I think that with everything that's going on in our world, it'd be nice to just hang out with a group of friends. And this is how this episode really felt. It was literally about just hanging around with friends and just chit-chatting and catching up and asking questions and, from there. The other thing too is at the beginning of this episode, before I do the official intro, so it's a sort of a behind the scenes, and we were thinking about keeping that solely for the Patreons. But again, I thought it would be a good gift for all the listeners to enjoy this, and Patreons will get other goodies. So don't worry about you guys. I got you. But again, I think it's something different where you're just kind of walking into a conversation when you're joining a group of friends. Similar to when you're hanging out with friends, you're having a great time and time flies by. This episode got a bit long, and instead of doing it all at once, I talked to Kayley and we think it would be a great idea to divide it into two parts. Today, you'll have part 1, and part 2 will air on December the 11th. So in just 2 weeks, promise time will go fast. We hope that you'll enjoy this episode. It's, again, different from your traditional Audiobook Lovin episodes in the past, but again, so much fun. And it's also a little gift from me to you guys, the listeners, with the upcoming holidays coming, and I thought that you guys would enjoy this. So I hope that you do. And here we go. Everybody can hear me okay? Hear each other okay?
Mm-hmm.
You sounded amazing.
Thank you. Good. Just so you guys are all returning guests, and so we'll do the quick intro, and I'll kind of introduce that we're playing off a little bit about the fact that Kayley's upcoming release is called The Very Bossy Christmas, and go from there. Kayley, you have all your questions for the narrators ready?
I do. I mean, it's not tons of them, and there's so many from the listeners, and I don't have short answers, so we'll do what we can.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They know that we were being cool with asking them if they had any questions. So, we can go with yours first and then kind of go into, I have them here as well. The ones from the group, that the listeners rather. And we can go from there. You're basically in charge after I do the intro, and then I'll tell you.
Big mistake.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys, we can just hang out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be I'm not Charlie Rose. I'm not going to get drunk and hit on you.
Well then I'm not going to stick around.
That's it. I was promised drunk and hitting on this.
I just organize and get people here. But yeah, so that's the other thing too. She does. Kayley mentioned how she wants this to be a nice, relaxing conversation, ebbs and flows. So
be nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I'm not nervous at all.
I didn't say anything about relaxing. I don't.
My mom was an EEG tech at a hospital, and she worked with this Russian woman. And I don't know if you know EEG, but they measure brain waves.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would be in various states of relaxation, and the Russian woman would always be like, "Relax now." And my mom thought it was the funniest thing. That was her Russian way of relaxing the people.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a no-no. But yeah, so we can start whenever you guys are ready.
I have a Post-it note on my computer that says Mackenzie.
So thank you. I I should find a way to maybe, can I change my,
Hold on.
wait, edit
Girl.
and rename. Here we go. This will be easy.
Well, I'm not even
Mackenzie.
seeing anything.
You're done.
Oh, there it is.
Rename. Done.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me take edit profile picture. We'll just.
We're not doing the video or anything. We're just recording audio. So that's
okay. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No, I do not want to worry about what my hair looks like. Thank you. Love you guys.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, no.
But what color is it today? Just so I have a visual.
I put more. The purple was going away and it was very lilac-y, like almost white. So I put more purple back on there, and so that took over a little bit more of the blue. But the blue's still there. So,
all right.
But yeah, so you're fine. I still got purple and blue hair. You're fine.
You're fine.
I like it. I'm like, it's different. Okay. As Connor stays completely quiet, like I don't know what these girls are talking about.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on women's hair that I would like to share. So let me just chime in here.
Your hair situation, Connor.
It's way longer now. I shaved it at the beginning of quarantine. And now it's pretty long and I have a pretty big beard. So I've gone the opposite way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, isn't November no shave November? Isn't it supposed to be anyways?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
November.
Yeah. Well, October was supposed to be sober as well, and I didn't follow that either.
Are you enjoying a Manhattan right now?
No, I am recovering from last night. I went a little overboard last night, so unfortunately, I'm not, and I'm older now, so I can't rally the way I used to.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so far, this is totally disappointing for everyone.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Mackenzie, are you drinking?
I drank last night as well. And
sorry.
Okay.
Was there like a romance narrator online party that we weren't invited to?
I know,
no,
right?
I think it was just something in the air. I think everybody needed a collective break
I
last
agree
night,
with
right?
Mackenzie because I really felt it last night. I was like, I need to blow off some steam, which like often on Fridays or Saturdays, I'll have a couple drinks or whatever, but I definitely was feeling like, I need to relax.
But Connor, I didn't do it quite the most responsible way because I didn't go into it with a plan. So I mixed my alcohols.
Oh.
And at one point I
Rookie
went,
move.
yeah, it was a rookie move. It was a rookie mistake. And at one point I just kind of like perused the cabinet and I just went, what's in here? What can I make?
Oh no.
Margarita mix, red wine.
It was delicious actually.
Baileys.
Well, so what was the order? What did you do?
So I made my own drink. I had my own fun. I went and made I took Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur from France, which is very delicious. And then I added a little fresh squeezed orange juice and then a little fresh squeezed lemon juice. And I put a little club soda on top of that. And then I muddled some raspberries together. And
wow.
Thank goodness.
I take it back. You're a pro.
But the problem is I started the evening with a little wine. So I mixed booze and wine, which is such a rookie mistake. So I screwed it up.
Did you?
But it was a happy ending. It was a happy.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up the next morning and went, oh, that was delicious. No, I didn't. I had a headache. Who am I kidding?
All right. Now we know where everyone stands.
Yep. Know what everybody's having for drinks.
Kayley, are you drinking?
I'm not, because when I drink, I am so fucking adorable. Very few people can handle it.
I see. Okay.
I don't want to do that to you.
Okay. Wow. You're one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Honestly, I'm going easy on you tonight.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh boy.
I'm already wearing sunglasses because I can't take your brilliance. So I appreciate that too.
Assholes. See how this is gonna go.
I was going to say that this is all this before we officially start.
Oh my God, you haven't pressed record yet?
I did. Oh, hell, I pressed record a while ago because, again,
this is for the patrons.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask permission if you guys are cool with us, using this stuff for any extra goodies and stuff like that. But,
yes.
Yeah, no.
For sure.
They already have a cocktail recipe from me. Come on.
Exactly.
Really.
So, yeah.
You probably won't even remember what you had, and now you have.
Now we have it officially, yeah. And I'll see if I can jot it down in the notes so we can have it in writing, and I can create a graphic for it and stuff.
People will ask.
Yeah.
For Pinterest.
Yes, they will.
Okay, is it Pinterest? Is it Pinterest? What is it?
Pinterest.
Okay.
At least I say Pinterest.
That's what I thought. Making sure.
Yeah, I also have very strong opinions about women's hair and how Pinterest is pronounced.
Well, yeah.
I'm
sure there's many Connor inspirational boards there, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
Based on the different characters that you've recorded.
My many hats.
Exactly, your many hats. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. Today is a very special episode as we have returning guests with us, author Kayley Loring and narrators Mackenzie Cartwright and Connor Crais. Welcome, guys, to this very special episode.
Yay!
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you guys are some of my favorites, and so when this opportunity came up, I was like, yes. But the reason we're also kind of playing a little bit of homage to Kayley's upcoming release, titled A Very Bossy Christmas.
Sorry, I thought you said Amish. I was like, this is not going to be Amish.
No.
That's Connor's other pseudonym.
Yea, verily. Raise the barn. Yeah.
So, Kayley, why don't you tell us a little bit about this upcoming release that they're narrating for you?
What? Okay. Well, it's called A Very Bossy Christmas, and it's a kind of fake dating, grumpy boss Christmas romance. And it's really funny and kind of steamy, and people seem to really enjoy it. And I think it's going to be really amazing in audio.
Yeah, that's really highly anticipated in audio. So we're eagerly waiting for it.
Yeah,
the steamy it's bubbling. If I might,
steam is bubbling.
The steam.
Can I
is
quote you on that on my website?
You can. Just make sure you use a really cute font, because I'm all about really cute fonts.
It'll be Comic Sans.
No. Oh, she beat me to it. I was gonna make a Comic Sans joke, and sorry, I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Door shutting.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Sorry, it's the graphic designer in me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's steamy. It's bubbly. It's so much fun. Oh, I love it. I love Kayley Loring books. Can I just say it?
Well, I mean, I don't mind hearing you say it.
I love your work. I'm a huge fan. I'm not just a narrator. I'm also a fan. I just love your characters, and every time I get to the end, I'm like, what could possibly be new? Spring. She's done all the best people, all the best lines, all the fun, the best dialogue, and then there's something new. And I loved recording this one, especially for Christmas, you guys, especially during quarantine. It's so great to just get in the spirit of the holidays.
I sent, can I say the email I sent you, Kayley?
Yeah.
I had to write Kayley an email after I recorded, and I was like, you are one of the best writers of men that I've read. The book was awesome to read. It is some of my best work that I've done, and it's because the material is so awesome. Yeah, so I can highly recommend this one.
Oh, you guys. And by the way, the headline of that email was "You Rock," just so we don't leave anything out. Because
Just to clarify.
I just need
Okay.
people to understand
It's true.
just how much he thinks I rock.
Yeah, I do. I really
Okay,
do.
Connor inspired me to now look over my email back and forth with Kayley, which
Getting into it.
guys, okay, here's one. Here's a header.
Which one?
Brain over Cannavale question.
This was before she started reading it, though. That was a really
This was-
sad one. I was like, this does not bode well.
Oh no! Oh no! No, it was just we were calling each other nice names in Italian. It was really, really cute. And
Yeah, there were voice memos involved.
there were voice memos involved. And then I think I wrote, "Holy cripes, that guy is hot."
Yes, you did.
Yes,
And
I
then-
did.
And then you sent me a picture of your finger touching the model's butt.
What? Okay, I did not realize.
But not literally his butt, but the image of his butt on the cover.
Okay,
just to
the
be
image
clear.
of his butt on the cover. I just want to say, I'm not crazy. When you look, you follow the torso down, and then you just keep going. And it, and then it starts to fade, and I was like, you tease, like, oh, you put it right.
I
on
will
the cover.
send you the original. I actually posted the original in my Facebook group for my readers on release day because there was a lot of
Gosh.
there were a lot of questions about how far down the original image actually went, and so they got to see exactly how far down it went. And it's not as far as you might hope, but there are tan lines. Let me just say that.
I found one more. Okay, I found one more email heading that I'll share with people. I wrote, "Spit out my coffee. I was this child," and it. I cannot tell you. I actually squealed when I was in the booth, and I got to chapter 8. That's all I have to say.
Were you with Kaylin when you were recording? Like, was she?
Yes,
on the
she
line or
was.
something?
She was on the line. Usually, she's in my house, but because of quarantine, not anymore. But yeah, I'm sure I just spit out the levels. I'm sure I just went into the red zone. Poor
That
thing.
must
She
be
was
so
listening on the
awful.
other end. Yeah, you have a way of writing juvenile characters, writing children and teenagers with a hand that is so deft and so sensitive. I saw myself in all the young people that you write, because of last few books have had some single parents.
Yeah, the
in them.
last 3 all had very young kids, like 6, 7. And I wanted to do another one for this one because I found out how good you are at doing kids. And I wanted to do one that was a little bit older, but still cute. And I mean, I've only heard a few chapters so far of the recordings, but I mean, your Piper voice is so cute and so charming and just hilarious. And like the way Piper says butt, and she says butt a lot.
Yes.
She really likes butts. But it's just so perfect.
I would love for Piper and Tina on Bob's Burgers
so Tina Belcher.
Tina Belcher, yeah.
Tina Belcher is Piper is kind of a combination of Tina Belcher and me, and apparently also Mackenzie, and probably a lot of romance readers because they seem to be really embracing this character.
Yeah, let's just say to everybody listening out there, you are going to hear yourself. You're going to hear your own inner thoughts, your very inner thoughts, thought aloud and sometimes spoken aloud by these characters at various ages. So kudos to you.
Wait, so
I'm raising my
Mackenzie,
glass.
But you don't have a glass. That's what's so disappointing.
Oh,
Or do you?
no, right here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's
Okay.
plastic, but don't tell anybody.
Okay. Secret safe for me. So it sounds like you have the emails in front of me. How would you feel about doing a reading of one of the emails that you sent? Because like, not just the heading, because so Piper, she's like super into boys' butts and she writes fan fiction. And at first, when I started writing it, I was like, am I going to get away with this? And then I was like, well, fuck it. If people don't love Piper, then they don't love me. And then I got this wonderful email from Mackenzie when she was reading the book. And she was like that she was this child. And then she shared with me a bit of a little.
Oh my God. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay. This is awful. This is so awful, but it was in the way that like your adolescence is awful in a way that like is seared into your brain, and you will always remember these things that you wrote or something that somebody said to you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I wrote, do you want me to write that I was a shitty writer? That one?
Well, yeah, although I don't happen to agree. I think it's very, very good.
Okay. All right. And I remember this word for word because embarrassing. So I was a shitty writer, but first of all, I wrote to Kayley, spit up my coffee. I was this child. And I showed her the top of chapter 8, where we discovered that Piper is writing fan fiction. God bless. I was writing fan fiction too, but I didn't know that's what it was called because we didn't have a word for it then.
Yeah.
And Kayley writes, me too, we're soulmates, which I actually think we are too. So I wrote to her, I was a shitty writer, but much better at acting out stories, LOL. And I remember this sentence that I wrote, and I thought it was the height of wit / noir. Picture me as like a 13-year-old kid. Okay, anyway, you get it. He put his feet up on the desk and opened each letter with the dangerous letter opener he had. One by one, he opened his bills, each like the other. Then suddenly, he opened a letter and looked closely at the paper. He didn't recognize the handwriting. No wonder. It was typed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like, I thought that was like the height of writing.
Like, Mom, Dad, look.
But you know what I get from that is just how beautiful that man was, because he was so dumb that it took him a moment to recognize that type wasn't handwriting. But I'm like, man, he must have been really, really good looking. Like, so good looking. He's like, wait a minute, that's a typewriter. And he's flexing his abs and stuff.
Is that how you would read that character, Connor?
I mean, I'm just taking notes. I got to listen to the writer. I got to listen to what they're giving me in the note, like reading between the lines, which is like, it took this guy a while. We were like, wait a minute, you can't fool me. That's a typewriter. Yeah. I thought that was a person with really neat handwriting, the way girls sometimes do. But there's no hearts over these eyes. That's a typewriter. Yeah.
All the notes that girls write to him have hearts over the eyes.
Well, I mean, he's a very attractive man. Not very quick, but attractive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Connor, so. we hadn't met then, but obviously I was thinking of this guy being narrated by your voice, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so.
So just so you're not the only humiliated person here so far. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I drew a lot. I didn't actually write fan fiction, but like in my preteen years, I was obsessed with Archie comics. So I drew dirty Archie comic strips.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Like not naked ones, but I drew like Archie and Betty and Archie and Veronica making out and stuff. But there would be a story too. And I was like so ashamed of these drawings. I would burn them in the sink when my parents weren't around, but I couldn't stop doing it because I just loved drawing pictures of people kissing. And, cut to.
And a romance author was born.
And stopped writing about people kissing.
He opened the comic. Wait a minute, this isn't approved Archie comics.
This isn't syndicated in my newspaper.
Something's off.
Like it was drawn especially for me in my private thoughts.
But I haven't talked about this with anyone, but I just know there are other people out there who did dirty Archie comics.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Kayley.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You are not
Okay.
alone.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If anybody
Thanks,
out there
guys. Thanks for your support.
and want to give Kayley some support, do let us know if you know.
Caller number
Oh.
1. What do you have to say?
Great. She's gonna
So
she's
Connor,
gonna write
was
me in and
Bossy
kill me.
Christmas? Maybe. Was Bossy Christmas what you were expecting it to be, or were you like surprised? I have a feeling you thought it would be kind of like broad comedy, or would you call it broad comedy?
Who is this to?
Connor,
Oh,
who has never read my books before.
No, I haven't. This is my first one. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. It was really, deft is the right word. Mackenzie used the right word. It was, it wasn't that broad. I guess I was expecting, I was expecting more broad, but it was very, it had a really, really nice tone to it. And, it was really easy to do in the best way possible, where it's just effortless to be like.
Is it challenging to read some of my prose passages though? Because like I write kind of weird, unexpected sentences, I think.
If I remember correctly, I don't know. Yours was by far one of the easier ones. And maybe it's I think maybe partially it's because your rhythm is clear. Like you have a very clear rhythm, a very clear energy. It's very you, and then it's consistent. So once you tap into that stays, where that's not always the case with every writer. So that made it really effortless, because the characters were so sharp and the energy was so clear and the rhythm was so tight. So I don't remember having any issues with the sentences. No.
That's very good.
Well, maybe there's a pile of fuck ups somewhere, but I edit all those out, so nobody will know. Yeah.
And for us as actors, the change, having a long prose section is great, because it goes against the rat-a-tat dialogue and creates a great dynamic shift for us. That is so fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Where I get bogged down is if a writer is just all the same, just everything is the same rhythm, everything's the same thing, and you find yourself almost lulled into it. But you've got internal feelings, you've got great internal monologues, you've got snappy dialogue, introspective moments with then great descriptions that are so evocative and start a picture going in your head, and then you're back to snappy dialogue. So there's no place to, I don't want to say there's no place to rest, but there's no sitting back and then this happened. It just goes right along like a really great movie or a TV episode.
But along those lines, I don't feel the reason it's easier is I don't have to carry anything, where it's like I'm just as much carried by the text as vice versa. So like when there are those shifts and there is that rhythm to it, that energy, I'm never lost in, well, what am I doing with this piece? Like, where are we? Sometimes there'll be dialogue and I'll have to make, in a different section or a different book, I'll have to make a decision of like, well, where do I think this character's coming from? With this book, it was clear the entire time. So.
Wow.
Yeah, we really shouldn't tell you just how easy you make our jobs in a way, because
I do. I was kind of trained to write for actors for my whole adult life. It's kind of like, because I don't know if you know this.
Because you're a screenwriter, right?
Yeah, I was a professional screenwriter for like 15 years. Like,
yeah, of course, and it should. Ding, ding, ding.
Well, but like I didn't realize that I could still write for actors as a romance author. Like that was like the one thing that I missed when I quit screenwriting. And then, with the first, I didn't actually start, like I hired you and Teddy for the first
Mm-hmm.
2 self-published books after I had written them. But then with Back for More, that was the first book where I had like booked you guys before I started writing it. And I was actually writing for the narrators, like with the narrators in my head and writing to your strengths, but also trying to challenge you because I'm kind of a dick, but I like to challenge myself with every new project too. So it's just, I think it has totally helped my writing too, with these novels, because it's, the transition from being a screenwriter to being a novelist is not a smooth one in terms of like the actual format. But anyways, like I still don't have the final files yet, so I've only heard 5 chapters and the 50-second clip of Jingle Bells, which we'll get to. But like, I just want you guys to know how overjoyed and like honestly stunned I am by what I've heard so far. Like, I already had high expectations, but you've just exceeded them. And like, I always get really emotional because I mean, it's such an honor to hear actors read my writing in a way that complements and enhances it. And it's such an interesting kind of connection because, I know you're just great actors doing your job, but like I put so much of myself into these books and it feels like you get me. So it's really, so thanks for not being shitty. And it always feels like I'm getting the most awesome Christmas gift ever when I hear my audiobooks, but with this one, it really feels like that, I really can't wait to hear every other chapter because there's like fun stuff in every single one of them that I'm just dying to hear how you guys perform them.
I will say that I got to listen to a little bit of that too, and it's not just because she's talking about her own work. It was really, really good.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
Yeah, no, it really
Thank you, Viviana, because we're all like, well, we really acted it really well. And it's like, you wrote it really well. And it's like, could we have done a better job? I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to think of where we could be better at what we do. And it's really hard to find a place where we even come up short even a little bit. So, yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
And in case anybody's wondering, the person who is the bossy person in the Christmas, it's Connor. It's Connor's character. The bossy one.
He's the bossy one, but is Maddie the boss of him? That's the question. Right?
That's a really good question.
Did you not catch that in the reading of it? Because it kind of sounds like you played it that way.
Well, you have to believe for every moment that behind every man in charge is a woman.
Exactly.
Who's really pulling the strings. I don't know. But
which is one of the themes of this book, honestly. Yeah, it is.
It is. And that's so funny because I remember one of my jobs, I was a temp in New York City once, and I worked for some really high level people. I was a personal assistant for some really high people at one of the high finance places like Bear Stearns, Goldman Sachs.
Wow.
And you want to talk about power, you want to talk about $3,000 Italian suits walking around and making and all that stuff. But I remember the woman who trained me, the assistant, the secretary who trained me. She was the one I was scared of. She was the one who I felt like kept all these guys in line. And one day, so I had a week of training with her, and I remember on the 3rd day in, I saw the largest bouquet of roses I think I'd ever seen on her desk. It was probably 2.5 dozen, which is huge. Like it takes 2 people to move a glass vase with 2.5 dozen or 3 dozen roses in it.
Yep.
And it's huge. You can't see, it's like 4 feet tall. And I remember looking at her and being like, oh, like, are those your flowers? And she gave me she was like Mona Lisa. She was just like, And I was like, this lady's got a story, man. She really does. But, she was an assistant. She was.
Do you think it was from one of the partners thanking her for
I don't know.
Saving their life,
I
basically?
don't know.
Probably.
They were red roses. So
That's true.
I don't know. Like,
That
I
means
don't know what her
I
deal was.
I see a story being written here, Mackenzie.
There's always a story being written, Viviana.
Yes. Yeah. But this is an office, it kind of starts in an office where, she's the assistant and he's the boss. And I think that a lot of people, again, I'm similar to Mackenzie. I've been in that position before. And sometimes we are the people that kind of have to let people go through and stuff. So sometimes the running joke is, well, they're the boss,
Yeah. Well, wait. So Mackenzie, I heard the first 3 chapters, and I've heard chapter 21 and 27, which were a jolly Cannavale Christmas and Deck the Halls.
Right.
I have not heard the Sexy Times yet. But so there are some accents I haven't heard yet, but I wanted to hear Mackenzie do Aunt Mel's Staten Island accent, and it is just a tour de force. And I had to keep pausing it because I was laughing so hard. Are you able to conjure her up for
oh my god, you mean what was her name? I forgot.
Aunt Mel.
Aunt Mel, she's got everything going on. She you just figured this lady would have the rollers in her hair, and she'd have the long you guys remember in that movie Fight Club how Brad Pitt had that robe with 3 cups of steaming coffee on it. You figured like she was the original who had the cups of coffee on her robe. And she would have like maybe a cigarette, dangling between her fingers. I mean, I could just see this woman. So, and she was like the sharpest cook. Smart lady. Staten Island, represent. Yeah.
I mean, it was just so amazing. And every now and then you would like yell a word. It was totally unexpected. Just so insane and perfect. And like, it's probably my favorite accent you've done so far. But I haven't heard the Ukrainian landlady yet.
Oh, Ukrainian landlady. So good. So much fun to do.
So cute.
She just wants everybody to get along, everybody. You need men. You need to eat. Eat a little bit more. You don't know. No one wants skinny. Who wants skinny? It does nothing. Trust me. I know.
So cute. So then I heard the one from like Declan's POV when he takes Maddie to his parents' house for dinner. So I got to hear Declan's ma, and it's so perfect. And in my character sheet, I wrote that she's from Boston, but she's lived in Ohio for decades. And I was like, so you can give her as much of an accent as you want. And I've learned now that if I say that, an actor is always going to go. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give it a slight touch.
But it's
Get out of here.
It's totally wonderful.
No, I went full like Yawkey way, like the yelling from a window across the sidewalk, having a conversation. Are you yelling? No, we're just talking. Yeah.
It's so great. And I haven't heard Billy Boston yet, but it's so good. And then I wanted to hear how you did Eddie, since I'm writing him now. And I had already written a How You Doing for him in chapter 2 of this next book. And so I was delighted to hear the way you did it in this one. and I heard a couple of Irish toasts too. So that was very nice. Which, by the way, I had already written like half of the book by the time I saw your live video thing in Connor's Cuties, and I had and just like there was just so much talk about the Boston and the Irish and the singing and stuff, and I felt a lot of pressure because originally there were just going to be a couple of like Irish people at the end, and so I went back and I added in the Irish toasts so that you could hear it throughout. And then I believe I had him mutter something in an Irish accent during a Sexy Times scene because why not? Right.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, ladies.
Yes. I was just about to say thanks.
Well, but did you guys have to like pause for laughter at all in any of the chapters, or you just like stone cold professional narrators?
Oh yeah, we really sound like stone cold professionals. So
I've started to think. Sorry, go ahead.
Just really quickly, I will tell you, there is a folder on my computer that says Mackenzie breakdowns that that are featured just those kinds of things.
Can you add it to my Dropbox immediately?
Can it be the Dropbox that I have access to?
For the right price. No, there's some awful swearing in there. I wouldn't want to subject you to that. But yeah, there's a whole
Who are you
lot
talking
of
to?
Hello.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to here? Fucks are commas in the Kayley Loring book.
That's true. They're very fun to say. But there's something about swearing when it's an author writing the words for your character, and then there's something about it being yourself. I don't know. I'm not shy.
Frustrated.
But...
All right. And so Connor's performance of Drunk Jingle Bells, which has been slightly hyped for this, I've only heard the 50-second clip of it, and it is quite honestly outstanding and just so much better than I was expecting. But you totally nailed it. And I had written in the text that he plans to sing it like Dean Martin. And then I wrote it like Bill Murray, and I didn't give you a note about that or anything, but you managed to blend Dean Martin and Bill Murray into your performance, and it is totally fantastic.
It did have a little bit of the theme from Jaws in there. Jaws! Yeah, there was a little bit of that in there. And you know what? I don't think, looking back on it, that was there, but that was not the intent at the time. But I was just like, this guy being a little too full of himself, because he's got a little bit too much of the sauce. And so, yeah, it was very Bill Murray does the theme from Jaws.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Did you try out different versions? Or?
I tried the ending a couple different ways.
Which, by the way, you stuck that landing, man.
Well, and you know what's funny? I'm pretty sure, I'd have to go back. I think I used the first one.
Really?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've tried it a few times where maybe something didn't quite go, or I thought, I'm like, let me try that again, and I'll go back and I'll listen to it in editing. Not just with your book, but with other books. Yeah. I'm like, well, let me see. And I've always found that I take the first take. Very rarely have I done the next take. And it's just something about maybe it's not perfect, but the energy that was there, I can't, it's tough to recreate that, the first time, saying it, and doing that song. I was like, well, I'm up there, I'm singing the song. In real life, you get one crack at it. So I was just feeling it, whatever the thing was. And yeah, I did the ending, I think, a few times, but I wasn't any happier than what I did the first time.
Interesting.
So yeah, hopefully people enjoy it.
I'm sure they will.
I think they will. I mean, I've shared it with Viv, and I've shared it with 2 other ladies who are huge fans of yours that I trust, and it's very hard to listen to less than 10 times. I'm not saying I've listened to it.
I was going to say, I think your number was higher. Because
I'm way up in the double digits now.
She casually mentions, I have the clip, and I'm like, give me.
Well, I was just worried that it wouldn't make sense out of context because you haven't read the book. But yeah, I know. But I should have known. That is the context.
Yeah.
I
mean, that was one of the first things we talked about when I first chatted with him on the podcast, was about his love of singing and books. Right?
He was putting it out there that he was hoping he could do more.
Exactly.
And I picked up on that immediately.
Oh my God. Twisted. Everything's twisted. Yeah, well, it also helped. I was like, he's drunk, so this can be as good or as bad as I want to make it.
But the thing is, it's actually good.
It's really good.
Get that he's drunk, but
it's still good.
You sound like, and I actually did make sort of a comment from Maddie's POV in the next chapter that he does sound good. I didn't want to hit it too hard, so you didn't feel too much pressure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you sound really good. And also, and I mean, I'm sure it's easier because you know the tune to Jingle Bells, which fortunately is a public domain song. So
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
not like you had to make it up
Yeah.
as you went along, but it was just you.
Yeah, that came up in a book that I did because the author wrote that the dude after was singing "I Just Had Sex," "The Lonely Island," which I knew, so I did it. And the editor asked me. He was like, "Did you make up that song?" And I thought he was talking about something completely different. So I was like, "Yep, totally made it up." And then I went back and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't make that up at all. That's on SNL. That's like 10 million people heard that." So I had to go back. I was like, "No, I'll muddy that up so you don't have to deal with any sort of copyright thing there."
Yeah, really.
But yeah.
So moving on, this is such a nerd question, but is there a word for the act of articulating the T sound at the end of words? Because it's hot and I like it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I used to know the name of that, and I can't remember.
Do you know, Mackenzie, like something along the lines of like glottalization?
Dentalized teeth. Is that right,
Stop
Mackenzie?
It. Well, stop it, really?
Are you like a glottal stop? Wait. What's the question again?
But when you really articulate the T sound at the end of words, because I hadn't noticed Connor or anyone else really doing that before in audiobooks, and then I realized that you do it too, Mackenzie, for the most part, and it's very impressive and it's weirdly attractive to me now.
It's probably just for clarity. Just it's theater training. It's specificity training. Trying to communicate and making sure it doesn't get lost.
I think it's dentalized teeth, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, that's
because what?
That's a dentalized teeth.
What?
As opposed to like an aspirated teeth.
Right.
Okay.
Where you expel the breath.
Right.
But a dentalized is a little bit stopped behind your teeth. So
yeah, I think that's what Kayley's talking about, but I can't remember without hearing the.
It's
the
probably something magical that I don't understand. So
it's probably
that's the old Billy Shakespeare training coming out.
Yeah, the hot Billy Shakespeare. Well, so Mackenzie, I know that Connor studied acting and Shakespeare in college. I don't actually know what kind of training you've had.
Same here. I trained in London. I trained in New York.
Did.
And my heroes were people like Emma Thompson and
oh my God. Mine too.
And I got to see Judi Dench and Cate Blanchett and
those are all my favorites. No wonder I love you.
Lived there, and it was just amazing to me. And speaking of Connor, are you a musical guy? You're a singer.
No.
Well, I just loved the British theater. So and they would do musicals. They would do stuff in reps. So they would do like Candide one night and Measure for Measure the next night with the same cast. So I would go and I would watch the National Theater productions, and everybody you see on like Sherlock or Game of Thrones now is was on stage. And no matter where you were, you could understand every word they said. And it wasn't affected. It wasn't blah, 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 blah. It was like we're talking now. It was as intimate as if the microphone's right there, just a little ear right next to your face. And I was like, how do they do that? How does Cate Blanchett play Queen Elizabeth? And then she's on film, and then she's on stage for 3,000 people, and it's just as immediate. It's just as intimate. Mm-hmm. And so, my audiobook just come out of that, just language and communicating and loving the theater. It's big. And I'm also a big cheese bucket. I love like Broadway musicals and stuff. So as broad comedy as you can get, but then in this wonderful medium that's so personal, and it's like you're talking to just one person on the other end of your headphones.
Yeah. That's why you're perfect for my books, and I love you.
I love you too.
No. And also, by the way, I feel like people are going to expect some drunk singing in the next book too, in A Very Friendly Valentine's Day. So,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Connor, what was that?
Well, this is the, where the agent comes in. And he's like, kid, this is what brought you. This is what pays the bills. I'm not doing it. I'm not going out there. It's like, kid, you knew what you signed up for.
Damn it, Connor, you sold your soul from the very first part and put your name on the dotted line.
I used to do so. I used to mean something. Yeah, well, that was a long time ago. Now you sing drunkenly in romance books.
I own you.
Yep.
Listeners love it.
So, okay, but what I was getting at is that Mackenzie is a singer and loves to sing and has an amazing voice. And so I'm trying to find something for her to sing as well. And so I have chosen a couple of public domain songs.
Public domain. I was just going to say those, those magic words, public domain.
Yeah.
And why not? I think listeners like to hear singing. They like to hear music.
Something different.
Yeah.
Well, then they'll hear a real singer and they'll be like, oh, Connor was right. He's not a professional singer because now we're listening to Mackenzie.
No, she's not listening to no,
but in
not writing a musical. She's not, this isn't like,
I'm not.
Carousel.
It's in character. Calm down.
In character.
You know what this is, kid.
Not getting out of it.
Yeah.
No, there's truth in karaoke. People reveal their souls in karaoke.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I know that Mackenzie recorded her parts first, and Mackenzie, I think you always do for my books anyways. Did you send Connor clips so he could hear how you did certain accents and how you pronounce things, or did you just do a voice sample, or?
We communicate. I would do voice. I think like voice samples on just one of my phone apps, and we could text each other or email each other. Remind me about this. How heavy is this accent, or whatever, just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is always very, very heavy.
Yeah, as heavy as possible.
On the scale of 1 to 5 hams, how hammy is it? Well, this one's like 5 hams.
It's 11 hams. This is such a dorky question, but when you guys are working on a dual narration project with someone for the first time, do you start a file on them and how they pronounce certain words like either or root so they match up, or is there a standard that everyone knows about?
A standard? Oh man, wouldn't that be nice if we had a little book that we can consult, Connor?
Yeah.
Do you not?
Hey, is it?
No, there's no narrator 101.
If it's west of the Mississippi, it's route, and if it's route, if it's no, no. But those are the types of things we chat about.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we want to be consistent. But look, if they're from different parts of the country, they might say things differently. But
right.
We keep it consistent. It's Houston Street.
Yeah, it is. It is Houston. But okay, I have one more nerd question. But I always wonder what kind of chair do you guys sit in when you're recording, because you have to sit for so long and it has to be quiet.
Oh my God, Connor, you want to take that one?
Is that a weird question?
Yeah, I just have an old bar stool that I put
appropriate.
Yeah, it's a bar stool.
So you have no back support?
I've danced with buying this. There's this super. There's a little it's got this half back to it.
Okay.
There's a stupid expensive chair. It's
the Herman Miller Aeron chair.
Yeah, is it $600 or $700 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume that's what you use, Mackenzie?
Yes.
I mean, you're working on a lot.
The
I studied in London, and I have the finest chairs.
Oh, and I went rooting through my liquor cabinet to find.
Yeah.
But you, except you masticated your own bitters. You created your own. So I mean, you were like, listen, I just threw something together. So there I was with my pestle and mortar, just whipping something up. Something casual. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. This isn't going to make sense unless Viv attaches our opening.
Well, I guess you better attach the opening then, Viv.
Yeah.
Yes, boss.
To not to disappoint you, Connor, but I probably have the knockoff version of the Herman Miller Aeron chair that you can get at Staples for $169.
Well,
and I've got a very,
better.
very old,
Send me a link.
old pillow for lumbar support. So sorry to burst your champagne bubble of my champagne tastes, but my beer budget. But one day I have sat in that Herman Miller Aeron chair, and it's damn comfortable. I won't lie.
It's good.
Better
it's good
be
stuff.
for $600.
Yeah.
But it is a business expense. So you guys.
It's true. Yeah, but you have to have the money first to deduct it. So there's that issue.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned with what's in front of my face than what I'm sitting on my ass on. Like,
isn't it just like always your iPad?
The
What is in front of your face?
Generally the microphone is probably the most expensive part of our rig, but yeah, and an iPad. And have you seen, Connor? Have you seen like the big, huge iPad that's like $1,100 and it's like 2 feet long and it's huge?
No. Oh my God.
Wait,
Wow.
It's the iPad. I'll text you later. It's like the iPad, the iPad Pro. No pours allowed. It's like $9,000. It's like $1,200. And I was like,
crazy.
I was thinking about it, and then I was like, no. Maybe
Would that
not.
make your life easier though? Because you could see more of the page.
Yeah, the screen is
Make
bigger.
it bigger. No, the
It's
text,
just-
yeah.
It's just bigger. And some of
I
these
feel like
fonts
that's
are
too big.
small.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes requesting the book in a doc format's better than PDF, so you can change the size of things if need be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pro tip for
what
all.
I've started doing.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't have to worry about that. I can make that whatever I want.
Did you hear that? Whatever I want.
The thing's
Whatever
hot.
It's
I
hot.
want.
Stop it.
It's not a very subordinate employee Christmas. It's a very bossy Christmas. I know what I get hired to do.
I love it. In that first chapter when you get grumpy and bossy, it's so awesome. I just get tingly. It's really good.
Mackenzie, I have a question. What mic do you use?
Well, I use a U87 clone.
Okay.
So I have a mic that's been the inner capsule's been taken out, and it's been modded by a gentleman in Massachusetts to mimic some of the warmth of the U87, but it's custom, so it works with my voice. It's not and my God, it was not as expensive as the U87, which doesn't work for everybody, but it's got some of those, How about you? What's your mic?
U87 AI.
Yeah. Great.
I have the AI. I don't have the original like classic one, but yeah, I switched to that. I'd be curious if any listeners know. I started on the 416 because I was doing a lot more corporate narration, cutting through music, as well as commercial stuff. And then the U87, I was like, well, I know what I'm doing here in these books, and I need these warm, deeper tones, which it does a pretty good job with. So
yeah, I used to use a shotgun mic for commercials, but it just it's too centered. It's too omnidirectional for this. So
yeah. Well, I think we've sufficiently bored all the.
I love it. No, you don't understand. I'm like sitting here bouncing because I love this stuff. It's so interesting. I don't know what you're saying, but I love it.
So, all right, listeners, we have a very special treat for you all. Exclusive excerpt from A Very Bossy Christmas.
Chapter 11. Declan. Cooper, did you specifically request that I be seated next to the most boring man on the plane?
Maddie. Actually, he requested to be seated next to the grumpiest, most intolerable man on the plane. Sometimes things just work out. Woman shrugging emoji.
He just described every single thing he had to eat today, in great detail. He didn't have to. I could see it all between his teeth and on his jacket.
Be nice.
I'm always nice, Cooper. Why don't you try being nicer to me for a change? It's sort of a requirement as my girlfriend. You should probably start practicing now.
This is me being nicer to you. I'm smiling at my phone right now, see? Image sent.
Jesus. That's what you look like right now? I mean, the finger wasn't necessary, but fuck.
Would you care to register a complaint?
Yes. No one else should be able to see you looking that good. You should be sitting next to me right now.
Better safe than sorry, and I, for one, am not sorry.
You have a stopover at Dulles. You should be on this non-stop flight with me. It's stupid.
I'll be in Cleveland an hour and a half after you land. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Woman face-palming emoji.
Already thinking about getting into bed with me, huh? I like it. But this arrangement is unnecessary and a waste of time, and it's already terrible. Who are you sitting next to? It better not be a guy.
Oops, time to put the phones away. See you in Seatown, hun. Winking face emoji.
That had better be a sexy double entendre. I will remind you that I've got dibs on your Seatown until January 2nd, Cooper. Potential consensual dibs. Cooper? Maddie? Unacceptable. Text me when you get to Dulles and when you leave Dulles and when you land in Cleveland. And when you realize what a bad idea it was for us to travel separately. And when you realize how much you miss me.
And we hope you've enjoyed that excerpt of A Very Bossy Christmas with a December 16th release date.
No, I will not.
Just saying to stop it makes us have to laugh more. It's just.
Yes, that is true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There you have it. This is part 1 of season 2, episode 6. Part 2 will air on Friday, December 11th, 2020. Thank you so much, Kayley, Mackenzie, and Connor, for taking the time to chat with me. If you're not yet members of Kayley's reader group, Kayleyville, or Connor's official fan group, Connor's Cuties, make sure to join as they may be getting some exclusive goodies coming their way soon. Both groups are on Facebook. Also, please make sure to follow everyone on their social media platforms. You can find those links on the episode's post on Viviana, Enchantress of Books. And until next time, happy listenings.
A heartfelt thank you to all of our Audiobook Lovin Podcast Patreon. Special thanks to Michelle Sutton, Jing Kemp, Jen Franklin, Brittany Cottingham, Kimberly Reed, Leanne Schwartz, Christine Cox, Christy Reitz, Jennifer Graham, Cindy Pittman, Mendy Summer, Jenny Johnson, Jesse Stafford, Chrissy Font, Rhonda Pezzarello, Evelyn Clarisi, Michelle DaCosta, Emily Dye, Michelle Bestard, Farah Blair, Candice Platel, Carol Liebner, Bethany Crane, Teresa Martin, Jennifer Mirabelli, Kaylee Loring, Victoria Butler, Alyssa Prendergast, and Gabriella Cesarek. The Audiobook Lovin Podcast has special Patreon access levels. Join today to receive early access to podcast episodes, exclusive content with our guests, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/audiobookllovin. We thank you for your support.
Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. For links and more information discussed in today's episode, previous podcasts, or the Audiobook Lovin Series, please visit our website, vivianaenchantressofbooks.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a positive review wherever you listen to our podcast. Until next time, happy listening.